Good morning. It is Enchanted April, day 17. So we're more than halfway through the month of trying to make some lemonade out of a lemonic month. I don't know if I've used that word on these talks before, but it was something that I think I said accidentally early in the pandemic, and a friend thought that was a really good word, so you can use it whenever you want. Lemonic, a time or a situation that seems to be full of lemons that we need to make lemonade out of. So our thought for today is around discretion. The quotation is, when you are discreet, you protect yourself. You preserve your honor. You conserve your power. Now, I wrote that way back 20 years ago in my book, Creating a Charmed Life, and I wouldn't have written that little chapter at all. That book is made up of 75 tiny essays, and that one really comes from my husband. Now, at the time, I hadn't known him very long. We met in 1996. The book came out in 1999, and somewhere in there, he had said to me, "I realize my values spell ditch." I said, "They do?" He said, "Yeah. Discretion, integrity, tolerance, civility, and humility." And I thought that was so cool. And the discretion one was interesting to me because he is a very discreet person. And people do have more of certain qualities than others. And I think some people need more of certain qualities than others. That's what makes us different and makes us all special. And for me, I like being open in a general way, at least. I like sharing of myself. I learn about who I am and what my next step is by letting somebody else know what's going on. And somebody who's more discreet, like my husband, needs to process things internally. And yet, I think for all of us, and thinking about that after I learned his values from him, I see that even for me as a really open person, there's something about that little bit of discretion that does just what I wrote there: preserves your honor and conserves your power. So the way I think about discretion, the image I get is one of those wonderful old castles with a moat around it. So you're being discreet. You're keeping some things to yourself, keeping your privacy and what's going on with you. Yours gives you more to work with. It seems that you're stronger. You have a little bit more ground to stand on. So I was talking with someone recently who had lost a close relative, and in the entire conversation, it was not shared with me what caused this person to pass away. And very commonly in our culture, we say, "Oh, I'm really sorry, and what did they die of?" And yet, maybe that person didn't want to tell me what this person died of. And so I knew enough to preserve her discretion by not prying and not trying to get information out of this person that had not been offered to me. So I think it's just a way to have more of who we are. And it's hard in the era of social media when it seems like we just put everything out there. Here's my dinner. Here's my good hair day. Here's my bad hair day. And it's delightful to really get to know people and know people's kind of insides. And now that we're seeing TV shows that are filmed in people's living rooms, it's like, gosh, I know where Dr. Phil lives. I know where Chris Cuomo lives. You know, it's kind of cool. But in another way, we need to have some kind of boundaries to feel safe. So I would love to see from you in the comments where you come down on this, how you feel about discretion. I think that the internet kind of makes it hard on purpose. Even this morning, I set up the Facebook Live as I have done every morning since April 1st, and it came on the screen, "Open your mouth." It's like, that's new. So I opened my mouth, and then all these like comic book things came out, and I realized that I had accidentally pushed some button that was going to make it all through this talk with you today. Every time I opened my mouth, all these weird things were going to come out, especially in a serious talk about discretion. That was just going to be weird. And I remember the very first time I did a Facebook Live, I was taping Dr. Michael Clapper, who's magnificent. If you don't know Dr. Michael Clapper, K-L-A-P-E-R, look him up. He's changing the face of medicine for medical students going forward. But anyway, he was giving this really terrific talk about human health, very serious topic. But every time the camera would focus on him, his face would turn into a little kitten face. I didn't know how to stop it at first. I didn't even know it was happening. So, it's kind of funny. But if you want to be discreet, I think it takes a little bit more work these days than maybe it did at some point in the past. So I like William's values, and I want to go just through the list. Then I have a nutrition question somebody asked, and we'll just finish up with some other stuff. But when he first told me that his values spelled ditch, it was discretion, integrity, tolerance, civility, and humility. And that was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And he's expanded it a little bit now. So discretion is still first. But he alternates integrity, he says, on odd days and on even days with introspection. And I think part of that is because he's a seminary student now and he's learning to meditate and go within in a contemplative way. And that's another way to build strength. Whether you're a religious person in any way or not, the ability to go within in some kind of practice, even a very, very secular meditation, you just go in and find out how much strength is in there and what you've got to draw on. I'm seeing a lot of people posting now that they never meditated before, or they meditated sporadically, and now they're doing it every single day. I mean, both because they've got some time, but also because it's just really important to know that we've got to draw on what we have within us. And then integrity, of course, on the opposite days or all days for both. I've always liked that word, and I know that to make integrity into an adjective, it would be integral, which kind of doesn't seem to work, because the idea of integrity is having everything fit together. It's kind of being the same in private as you are in public. It's being real in a deep, deep way. I like that. I aspire to that. Now, tolerance is kind of controversial because some people say, well, I'm not going to be tolerant because people are out there doing all kinds of terrible things. I'm not going to be tolerant of that. Well, it's not about tolerating terrible behavior, but it is about allowing every individual the opportunity to be here and to grow. And good grief, that's hard. My husband and I had dinner a few months ago with Jeffrey Cohan, who's the executive director of Jewish Veg, and he had such wonderful things to say about tolerance, that it's not saying, oh yeah, be bigoted, be unkind, be whatever you want to be, I tolerate all of that. No, we don't tolerate what they do, but we allow them to grow. We allow them to be open enough to have that opportunity. And what helps me with that sometimes is when I think about things that I see differently today from how I saw them at some time in the past. And if somebody had been in my face shoving stuff at me, I would have run in the opposite direction. And I'm so grateful for all those wonderful friends and teachers that have showed up in my life who have seen what I did and what I thought and what I said and just were like, well, I see it this way. And I liked how they saw it better. And so it's helped me grow, and people like that, people like you, are still helping me grow. Then we've got civility, which is just so sweet. And it's so English. I love English values, the whole stiff upper lip and keep calm and carry on. And the idea of civil interactions in real life pretty easy, because in real life you don't want to be rude to somebody and have them come back at you. And yet online it just seems like people find it so easy to be uncivil, and yet to be able to put more and more of that out there and raise the bar for conduct all around. It's pretty cool. And compassion, of course. Oh my goodness. That's what I think many of you here that I know through the vegan world and the animal protection world, that's what we're all about. Compassion for all beings. Compassion's a cool word. It means to feel with. And if I can feel your pain, then I have to want to do something about it. And finally, humility. Somebody who's on this call, lovely Star, messaged me this morning and talking about discretion. She said that's such an important topic for right now because we don't know what we don't know. That's really true. And I think lots of people are out there promulgating all sorts of theories about all sorts of things, but humility too, just the idea of I'm not a terrible person, I'm a fabulous person, and yet I don't know what I don't know. I just showed up here a mere several decades ago and to just know that we are, as somebody said to me once, dust and we are divine. And there is a state of consciousness in knowing that both of those are true. That was actually my sister-in-law, my late husband's younger sister. She had a classic mystical experience while she was at an ashram in India. And she was lying on her bed late one morning because they had to get up at 3 a.m. and meditate and do all sorts of chores. And as she lay there, she realized that her body wasn't going to move. And she went into this incredible state of feeling at one with everything, of never being the same again. And when asked to describe what she learned, it was that simple sentence: we are dust and we are divine, and there is a state in consciousness where you can know that both are absolutely true. So for me, that's a pretty good definition of humility. So moving into the very practical, mundane, but important, I forgot to recommend a book yesterday. I had 2 books to show you. I showed you The Water Secret when we were talking about skin. But this one is called Eating for Beauty by David Wolfe. He's a raw guy. And oh my gosh, even though I'm not a complete raw fooder, although sometimes in the middle of the summer when I'm fantasizing, I think I'm a raw fooder, but I'm not. But Eating for Beauty, wonderful, wonderful book. I learned some stuff that I've never learned anywhere else, so you might find that of interest. And I want to recommend a book today that is Vegan for Life: Everything You Need to Know to Be Healthy and Fit on a Plant-Based Diet. This is from Jack Norris, RD, and Virginia Messina, MPH-RD. And the reason that I brought this up is that someone said that I had mentioned the other day that cashews contain zinc, and how much and how many should you eat, and she tries to avoid a lot of nuts because of the high fat content and that. So here's the deal as I understand it, but I do recommend Jack Norris and Jenny Messina about this. And when Jack Norris was on the Main Street Vegan podcast the first time, you can find that in the archives, he went into some detail about zinc. But yeah, cashews have zinc, but the same amount is in peanut butter and sunflower seeds. There's a little bit more in tahini, and there's even more than that in pumpkin seeds. And yet, if you look at the RDA for zinc, you'd have to eat quite a bit of that stuff to get the RDA for zinc. Zinc is a little bit hard to get. I mean, if somebody is eating oysters, probably it would look pretty easy to get the RDA, but I don't think most of us want to be doing that. So for vegans, it might be worth supplementing simply because there is indication, as they say here in the book, absorption of zinc from plant foods is quite a bit lower than from animal foods, and the Food and Nutrition Board suggests that zinc needs could be as much as 50% greater for vegans. So you want to eat your zinc-containing foods. So wheat germ is really high, azuki beans, the other beans, lima beans, split peas, the fortified veggie meats, of course, because they're fortified, but tofu and tempeh and these nuts that we talked about. But if you do want to supplement, I'm going to tell you my favorite supplement in all the world. And I'm also going to give you a caveat because I'm an affiliate for this company because I love them so much. I was using their products before they asked me to be an affiliate. So if you want to buy this and you don't want me to get any percentage, don't use the discount code. But if you do, then I'll get a percentage and all that. So I don't know if that falls under integrity or what, but it certainly falls under full disclosure. But if you don't know Complement, oh my gosh, it's a wonderful company and a wonderful product. So their first product was just called Complement, and it was made by Pamela Ferguson, who is a registered dietitian and PhD up in Canada, in collaboration with Matt Fraser, the no meat athlete, and some other good people, because they wanted something by vegans for vegans. So the regular Complement is just a spray, and it's B12, D3, and the fully formed omega-3 fatty acids. But then they started working with Dr. Joel Kahn, a wonderful cardiologist in Detroit, and he brought in some other nutrients that vegans might want to supplement, and so that's how we got Complement Plus. So it's got all those things I talked about, B12, D3, omega-3 fatty acids, DHA, EPA, but it also has zinc, selenium, iodine, magnesium, and vitamin K2, which helps with the use of vitamin D. It's good for your bones, and it's pretty hard to get from food. The only reliable plant source of vitamin K2 is, I can't even think of the name of it. It is this soy product that most Western people think tastes really bad and smells really bad. Somebody put the name of it up here in the comments so we'll know what it is. And I tried it once at a Japanese restaurant. I couldn't handle it. I think some people like it, but it's definitely an acquired taste. So that's what is in this stuff. That's how I know for sure that I'm getting my zinc, although I certainly eat pumpkin seeds and other high zinc containing foods. So you can find these good people at Love Complement, it's PLEMENT.com. And if you want to buy regular Complement, the spray stuff without the zinc, and get a discount, you can just put Main Street Vegan, all caps, in the discount box. Or if you want this one, Main Street Vegan plus sign in the discount box. Or don't get the discount and all is also well. So that's what I have to say about zinc. Somebody asked me about salads and salad dressings, so we'll be talking about that coming up. Now let's see. Natto, yes, natto. Thank you so much, Diane and Beth. Yeah, natto, you know. People can find delicious all kinds of things, and that's one of them I haven't awakened to yet. I just want to read what Patricia said. Tolerance. I'm reminded of the Joaquin Phoenix Oscar acceptance speech. I paraphrase, we don't need to cancel people, and I'm trying to press see more and it's not letting me see more, but I do want to read that. Patricia Welty in the comments section. Yeah, wasn't that speech something? I love oratory and whenever people can say something that's so powerful that it changes whoever hears it, that's pretty powerful stuff. So just reading, zinc in cells helps stem replication of the virus. Cool, Nivi. Nivi has an amazing thing happening today. She's got, if you look on my Facebook page, the same place where this is coming from. We've posted the information about Nivi's event today. She is a Mayo Clinic certified health coach and a brilliant woman on many, many levels with lots to teach us all. So I'm pretty much done for this morning, and I wish you all good things. I want to thank you for your positive thoughts about my book proposal. I finished it. And you know what was interesting? When I was all blocked and it was just slow and I was trying so hard, and I'd look at it and it's like, this is boring. I wouldn't read this book. And then it came to me yesterday morning in meditation that I shouldn't write it thinking of it as a proposal, which is kind of like having to justify myself. Like, here's my dissertation I'm going to defend. I don't do well defending things. That's why I'm a writer, not a lawyer. But I wrote it as an email, like a letter to this editor that I know somewhat and admire a lot. And when I knew that I was writing to her and presenting this book to her for her own joy and edification, it just flowed. It made such a difference. So it took me a week to write the thing that I didn't want anybody to read, and it took me 24 hours to write what I really think has wings on it. And I believe that your good thoughts and prayers is a part of why that happened. So thank you all so very much. Enjoy this day discreetly, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.